Well, hello everyone, welcome back to Season 3, Race 5 of my F1 2012 career mode. I am Lovesbuds, and yes, I am back after a week on holiday. And to start off with, I'm just going to show you a little bit of action from Q1, where I completely messed up and opened the DRS, probably a bit too early, but I was trying to be a little bit cocky, trying to open it early so I could get the most speed on the straight before starting the lap. But that didn't work, but I did get a few Q1 and Q2 to start Q3 here. This is my lap. I'm sort of in the middle of the pack, but I do have some room to put in a decent lap. I'm not being held up by anyone, I'm not holding anyone up at least either, so looks like it's going to be a half decent lap, which is not usually the case when I'm in the middle of a bunch of cars. But yeah, obviously this was my best lap. I didn't go for another lap, more for saving tyres, I guess, considering it was half decent time anyway. And my objective was to qualify third, so let's see if we actually do meet that target. Ferrari feeling good again. I'm using the Noble setup, what I tend to call the Adrian Newey setup. I know someone asked, I'm sorry I'm crap with names because I've forgotten who asked. Someone asked to see the setup that I use, and I will leave the link in the description from now on. I think I'm just going to leave it in there to show you which video I've been taking the setups from, because they're exactly the same on every track, basically the same as his. So there we go, 121.7. I'm just getting back into the groove of commentating here, so do excuse me. But Jenson Button did end up pipping me to the pole position by a quarter of a second. So it's actually pretty good. Second, I'm happy with that, on the front row of the grid, with Grosjean in third. I'll do better than hold on to it. I'm going to try and go for the win. Start the race, got a fantastic start. Oh, fantastic get away from the line, but no, yeah. Whoa, Jensen. But the acceleration of my Ferrari, coupled with the fact that I've got 1-1 wing setups set up, meant that I had a very decent run into the first corner, and with half my curves used as well, that come off pretty well for me. But I've gone wide. Not mentioning that, and Raikkonen had managed to make his way up to second as well. And talking of Raikkonen, what a win for him in Australia last week. I mean, I wasn't able to see it live. I had to go through to the afternoon till the BBC showed the broadcast, trying to stay away from any sort of news programs, anything like that may have hinted who won the Grand Prix. But I managed to keep it a surprise right until the moment he won the race in the Grand Prix replay. And I was really happy, because if there's anyone I want to win more than Button, it is Raikkonen. Definite good good race for him. Lotus seems like it's very easy on its tyres, meaning he managed to do the two-stop race that many others couldn't do, especially the McLaren, managing only about 4 laps at the start of the race before having to come in to change Jensen's tyres. Really disappointing showing from the McLaren, but I think they'll be able to pick up some pace around China onwards, when they can get new parts to the car. And there goes Raikkonen. I went wide on that corner again.
Okay, we've lost the position. Keep close and maybe we can take it back.
Using these setups is pretty good for me, but there is still the possibility that I understeer going into most corners. So you may see that in the next few races, once I get used to using this new setup. Now just going to flick out to Rich just so I can catch him. Already 1.3 seconds behind. I'm messed up a little bit. I don't really have a lot of grip going around that corner as well, which is a corner I tend to do most of my catching up to people on in previous Grand Prix. But because I've reduced the downforce quite a lot from what I'm used to, I'll have to go around there a little bit slower than I can do. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying half the time. You know this already. I may have had a holiday, but that's which actually I suppose has totally fried my brain, and I can't think straight because I go back to work tonight, which is Saturday when I'm recording this. I'm trying to upload it today. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we can always try. And again, I'm having trouble with this corner. So thank you for all your messages on my video about me going on holiday. By the time this goes up, that video would have been deleted anyway. But I just want to say thank you to all the guys who wrote comments on "have a nice time, dude" and all that. Especially Mikey Duncan's comment. That made me laugh. Don't worry, Mikey, there's plenty of that going on. But what was I saying? Yeah, and we just about missed the so-called severe weather, which it didn't really affect us that much. We came back yesterday, which is Friday, when the snows first came along. We were up in the Lake District, and we just drove straight back down to Salisbury on the motorways and all that. Basically, the roads we were using were completely clear. The only snow we came across was getting out of the place we were staying, and that was it. The rest of the roads were just wet. They'd been salted and gritted and all that, and weren't really a problem at all. There were a few hairy bits along the way, blizzard-like conditions, but no ice on the actual road itself, so it made the going really, really easy for me driving back in those conditions. Still got some idiots trying to do 90 to 100 miles an hour down the motorway, which is completely stupid when you consider the winds were very strong enough to push lorries off the road, which I did see a couple. I saw one parked in a field, and someone else lost a portable office from the back of their trailer that was sitting on the motorway, took up 2 lanes. A few more crashes on the way as well by people who just are stupid in my eyes, because you know, if you're going to drive like an idiot in those conditions, you need your license taken away from you, because we're not on a racetrack. So that's my view anyway.
You need to increase the gap. You're within 1 second of the car behind. He will use DRS.
But anyway, enough of that. Enough of my holiday. Again, thank you guys for commenting. As usual, let's get back to the action. I've just watched the Malaysian Grand Prix qualifying. Vettel snatching pole again. Well, it's obvious, isn't he? he's at the top of his game, really, isn't he? In controlling the car, and with the best team as well. So how can he lose, really? But in the race, the Red Bull doesn't seem as good as the others. No, I really hope it stays that way, because I really, as much as I like Vettel, but I don't want him to win another one. I don't want Red Bull to win another Constructors. Although, seeing as Massa is actually on the pace of Alonso and actually beating him in qualifying at least, you never know, Ferrari might be able to snatch it away from Red Bull, considering Mark Webber and his slightly poor results. I mean, the start in Australia was his typical Mark Webber start, but he also didn't have KERS, so his start was always going to be compromised until they could reset it later on in the race. So that completely stuffed him up. He doesn't have much luck in his home Grand Prix anyway, so the F1 gods are conspiring against him in that one. We just have to see how he does tomorrow in Malaysia. A lot of sliding action going on from me. I don't know why. I think I'm going around the corners too quick for the car or the tyres to handle. Also because of my setup as well. But as you can see, Raikkonen is actually building a little bit more of a gap now, which is unfortunate because he's going to end up being my main rival in the championship, I believe. Obviously I haven't done any recording for a week, so I'm not quite sure where he is in terms of points, because I'm about to do round 9, which is Britain. So we'll have to see how that goes. Let's see where he is in championship. It's not clear cut for me. I'm not going to completely dominate, especially not in the next race, because I'm never good in Monaco anyway. There's a lot of load going on all the left front and the rear tyres. Not a lot of load going on the right front, that's for sure, as you can see by how much it's worn down. But coming into the pits for our mandatory stop for dry tyres on the primes. I mean, well, thinking of the next game that's coming out, F1 2013, obviously. I wonder what the friggin' tyres are going to be like then. If they are more likely to degrade in real life, what are Codemasters going to do to these tyres? Especially with, it's bad enough in this game trying to control them in wet conditions. Makes me wonder if they're going to piss off a lot more people. Oh well, you can only find out when that happens. I mean, September's a long way away anyway. Still, yes, and I mean, talking of this game as well, and my videos in general, there may potentially be a lot of disruption in the next coming months. It's over something I can't really talk about at the moment because I don't know if it's happening or not, but when I know more, you will know more. It involves moving house, basically, and changing job as well, if possible. So yeah, could potentially be a lot of disruption. You may not see videos for a while, or they'll be heavily reduced. I mean, definitely, I very much doubt you'd get daily uploads if this thing goes ahead, until I get some sort of order going. I know that's a very cryptic message for you lot, but I can't really promise or say anything until I know myself what's going on. But, obviously I'm at that stage of my life now where I'm almost, well, I'm going to be 24 in 3 months' time. So yeah, I kind of have to take life a bit more seriously than, what, 5 years ago or something. In short, I probably should have started YouTube earlier. But hey, never mind. I have no intention of quitting, that's for sure. I do love doing these videos. What else? Yeah, going back to F1, Vettel and Webber obviously critical of the new softer tyres, as they would be, but Pirelli, you know, saying that they heard this all last year as well, and then they'll get used to the tyres, don't you worry. But we'll see how quickly the other teams get used to the tyres, because Lotus are doing really well at the moment, obviously. Not doing too great in their qualifying pace. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Kimi's actually been particularly quick in his qualifying pace on most tracks, especially not last year anyway. But 7th on the grid tomorrow, which I believe that's where he is. I think Rosberg just got ahead of him to 6th, but the race pace on the Lotus is not actually that bad, especially when they can manage to do 2 stops in Australia. Let's see if they can do it again in Malaysia. You know, catapult themselves to the front. Grosjean needs to pull his socks up a little bit, but to be fair, qualifying has been a bit tricky the last couple of races, especially splitting qualifying over 2 days in Australia, and rain coming along in Q3, but Grosjean went out in 11th, which is a bit tough. Oh well. I mean, Grosjean's not on the same level as Raikkonen, no way. Even most people know that.
Raikkonen's next. Line him up for a pass.
But it would be nice to... I really would like to see Raikkonen in the contention for the title. Be interesting to have a three-way fight between Vettel, Alonso and Raikkonen. I mean, like a proper three-way fight. Not just Alonso and Vettel going off and doing their own thing, and Raikkonen just sitting third. Looks like Button and Grosjean are having a little bit of a fight behind me. Which is good because it keeps Button busy. Not just that. Well, less points Grosjean can score, the better, because Lotus is starting to run away with the Constructors' Championship this season, because Massa is a little bit far down to be scoring any points whatsoever. I'll have to look where he finishes in this race, but his form so far this season hasn't been great, sort of reflecting the real world 2012 season. But in the real world, it's nice to see Massa up there again with Alonso, actually battling with him rather than letting him through as a lapped car or something. But still, as you can see, I'm having quite the time catching up to Raikkonen. I am actually really trying. Yeah, I'm not as if I'm backing off a little bit to make sure I don't win every race, but he's putting up quite a fight. And Spain, I love the track. I really like driving it, but I'm not particularly the fastest. I mean, I can occasionally put the car on pole here, but when it comes to race pace, as you can see, Raikkonen's just got the measure of B, keeping that gap quite constant around a second. Now I have to be careful with my own fuel consumption as well, because I expect Raikkonen will go up to high fuel mix mode soon, or if he hasn't already. It's mostly the reason why I have been fueling the car up to the cautious level recently, having like 4 laps or so extra fuel, so I can spend more time in the high fuel mix range, so I can keep up the AI cars when they get to the later stage of the race. Because for some reason I just don't find the speed sometimes. I suppose it's in the lines into the corners I take, the braking zones, I'm not being as adventurous as I could be.
We're comfortable at the moment.
And as I was talking about that, that's where I totally messed it up. I forgot I did that. It's those last corners, man. I don't know why they bothered with them. No, I know it's a safety thing, but come on. They completely ruined that last sector.
To start catching the car ahead, we need a high minute 23. High 23.
It'd be really nice if they could go back to the old layout. Because if you think about it, it's no more dangerous than the last couple of corners in America, where you got that long sort of twisting section that it goes, I think it goes right, it's right-hander, then it sort of goes into a little chicane type S-bend sort of thing. But you go in there at some sort of speed and you can fly off onto the gravel if you don't make that left-hander, the second to last corner. But I suppose on this track it's because the barriers are so much closer to the road that they have to do it. I mean, you can just see over there, if you had the old layout, you haven't really got much room before you meet the barriers, so I suppose that's probably why he did it. It's more of a stop them crashing into barriers. I mean, in America, you've got so much room to go off the track everywhere. It's almost boring. But oh well. But yeah, Mike Raikkonen set the fastest lap again of one. I don't know about again, but he's definitely said it this time. 1:23, which is yeah, quite a bit faster than me. As you noticed, he's got a 3-second gap now.
The gap to the next car is about 3 seconds.
But on the other hand, I've also got Button behind me, who isn't going to be threatening me just yet. Although he might in the later stages. Still got a few laps to go, remember. It's only 2.6 seconds behind, but hopefully Grosjean's going to keep him busy. Comes up the rest of my cars. Goes why the hell not. Gap still 3.6. Button's closing a little bit. 2.2 seconds there. Could come under threat from him pretty soon, actually. Considering that I've got laps to go. And I'm on the, I think I'm on the normal fuel mix. Can't remember if I'd actually changed it down or not now. God, I'm terrible. But I've improved my lap time a little bit. Still doesn't mean I'm going to catch up to Raikkonen, who's half a second quicker than me on that lap alone. Unfortunately, it's just going to be one of those things where I'm just going to hang on for the podium rather than the win. But there you go. Actually, while I think about it, I'm thinking about something else here. I'm just looking through the qualifying report and looking at my fuel there. One person I've actually been quite impressed with is Adrian Sutil. He's been really quick. I mean, he led at one point Australia. I mean, he wasn't going to win the race. I highly doubted that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with a podium at some point this season, if he continues to drive as well as he has been. I have to say, I think Force India he made the right choice there. I wasn't expecting him to come back and fill the seat again after the trouble he had in the nightclub. Got into trouble for that. Which may affect his, most people were thinking it would affect his chances of being able to race in some countries. But it looks like it's going to be okay. I mean, and they always find a way around it, these teams and that. Button's got within a second of me, just looking at that. But yeah, I have to say I've been definitely impressed by Sutil. I wasn't expecting to be, but that was a pleasant surprise on his comeback, having a year out. I have no idea what he's been up to on his year out, but obviously slotted in back in quite well. Obviously outshining Di Resta a little bit. Definitely, I mean, if Di Resta doesn't do very well this season, he could probably... I expect he will may very well be out of his race seat altogether. Because I think it's make or break for him this season. Because if Sutil does well and stays at Force India for next season, you never know, he might get offered a better drive, but if he stays there for next season, then Di Resta's seat will probably come under threat, and Bianchi might move in. You never know. But anyway.
The gap to the car behind is less than a second. Be aware he may use DRS in an attempt to pass.
Yeah, Button's got DRS on me on a penultimate lap. Looks like he's going to try and make a move into the first corner. Doesn't quite have the position to do so. Raikkonen sets another fastest lap, which is about 8/10 faster than me. Rosberg just goes slightly quicker than that. I don't know what position he's in. Must be in the top 10 somewhere. But I do make up some time in the first sector, which gets cut a little bit in the second sector. Then the third sector, I think I'm about even if I get the line right, get the corners right. I'm slow on this bit going uphill, I think. And going around here because I don't have the downforce to go around there at full speed. Yeah, shit happens basically. Don't know if that's Raikkonen in amongst that lot. It might have been. Car ahead does not have a puncture. Don't know what is wrong with the game when it says that, because there's no one having a puncture anywhere. Toro Rosso's doing exceedingly crap as usual. Especially this season, actually behind a Marussia there. I think that's a Marussia. Certainly looks like one. Mid distance. Starting the last lap now, going to flick it up to Rich. Just to make sure Button doesn't get anywhere near me. Which I don't think it will do. This is 2 seconds behind. Fighting Grosjean still. Another thing as well, which is quite odd in this game, that started happening recently, is that I've been in a couple of races now, getting quite close to pick there, didn't want to move out of the way. A couple of races now where I've been chasing the leader or something at the start of a race, and the engineer comes on the radio and says, slower cars ahead. That's happened a couple of times now, slower cars ahead, and the only car ahead of me is the leader. It's a bit weird because there's no back markers anywhere near me. They're actually 3/4 of the lap round. So I don't know where their game gets that from. I'm having a bit of trouble here. I'm not careful, I might lose third, which I don't. Luckily, the back markers were there at the right time to save me from that embarrassment. Now, Kimi Raikkonen is coming round the last corner now, going across the line in a minute to take a win for the Spanish Grand Prix. There he goes. And Mr. Lovesbuds is coming round in second for 18 points. Obviously not celebrating because my target was first, which I failed, and Felipe Massa having the best result of the season, but finishing 11th out of points, of course. But there you go, there's the results. 25 for Raikkonen, 18 for me, and 15 for Button. Fortunately, Grosjean is up there in the mix as well in 4th with 12 points. Then you got Lewis Hamilton, Rosberg, Schumacher, Perez, De Resta, and Webber rounding off the top 10. Vettel finishing out the points in 13th, which is a disappointing day for him, and Kobayashi was the retirement. Toro Rosso having mixed results, 18th and 23rd. Them, but they're not doing. They never really do brilliant in these last 2 games anyway.
You're still first in the Drivers' Championship.
But there we go. I'm still leading the Drivers' Championship because I do have a little bit of a gap. 38 points to Raikkonen, who's in second now on 73. Closely followed, 1 point behind by Grosjean on 72. And there's the rest of the standings. And then the guy who got Massa in 15th, still on 0 points. Behind the Caterham of Kovalainen. I wish he would pick up his pace sooner rather than later, because it's not going to help us at all in a Constructors' Championship, where I believe we could be falling, well, almost, where we're going to fall victim to McLaren soon, because Lotus are up there 34 points ahead of us, well, me basically, because I'm the only one gathering any points, and McLaren and Mercedes are not far behind. They could leapfrog us in the next couple of races, possibly, if Massa doesn't up his speed. But there we go. Yeah, all that remains is to say goodbye, and join me next time for round 6 in Monaco, which is going to be my worst nightmare. All will become clear in the next video. Anyway, it's good to be back, guys. Had a good time on holiday. Let's get right back into the video making. I'll see you next time.